Morning. Let's see if we got early risers again. Again, I'm just doing a thing with my wife that she's gotten onto the idea of a bunch of people. Tamara joined in. Welcome, Tamara. Joel McAllister's in. Good morning. Jeff Trudell is in. Megan Smith joined. You guys get on quicker than we do when we do them at 10:30 in the morning. So welcome, Sam Thomas, George Sievers, Robin Ruby is in. Morning to y'all. So Kevin, maybe this will be a better time to do these lives. I don't know. Mike Clark, good morning. Jenny Becker, good morning. So Steph is on her kick of 5 o'clock. She wants to get up at 5 and work out or something. So I'm in on it with her. So what I'm going to be doing is using it as a chance to get a little bit of extra time that I'm kind of going to dedicate to doing a little bit more with the dog stuff. Doug, good morning. Sam Tripp, Greg Taylor, Sam Thomas. Yes, I love it. Megan says everyone's ready to go to work. Tom, good morning. Tom, I think you might be new to our group, or at least to the live portion of it, so good morning. Do me a favor, guys, the early morning group. If you do me a favor and share these while they're going, I think that's the best way. The whole time here, I'm just walking with these guys. But if you guys have watched our old lives, which I think most of you have, the best part about the lives is the interaction part. That's, I think, where the value is. So otherwise, it's just looking a little sleepy this morning. I am? Well, perhaps. I think the value in these is the interaction. So without that interaction, so the way I like to do it is do something, then have a chance to answer questions after. I can't answer questions while I'm working with the dogs. We just don't, it's just way too much as far as getting in the way of me and the dogs. So I don't recommend a lot of people. At first I asked everybody to start filming their stuff. I think that helps me a lot. Someone's watching from the turkey woods. No goblins, might as well learn something. Might be Zach. Optimizing your time. Chris Hines, good morning. So I think that what was I going to say? I think the interaction part of it. I think that if we don't have interaction, what I like to do is do something with the dogs, and then I like to back up and try to answer questions. So if you guys are new to this, and you've got questions, and something comes up, or I do something during the video, just write your question or make your comment, because I will answer it. Sit down. I will answer it when I come back. I'll spin this around. Let's see. James, welcome, James. I'll answer it when I come back towards the end here. It's just really hard for me to be able to answer it on the go. And I asked people to start filming some of their training because it really does help me help them. Like I've watched a lot of videos of you guys that you have sent in, and I'm usually able to learn a lot more from watching a video as opposed to just getting an email or a text message, something like that. So I'm going to keep these guys moving. I'm going to try to find a spot where it doesn't see a weak connection. And then I'm going to kind of do my little breakdown. So this morning, if you can see down to the end of this road, it's 3/4 of a mile to my driveway. To the edge of that woods is probably another half. So it's about 1.25 miles, I'm guessing. Sit. So it's about 1.25 miles. That's what I've walked so far. I'm actually on my way back. So one of the things, good morning, Lyle. Merrick Malak joined in, welcome. James Manjar, welcome. Jeff Butler, Brian Britton, Mike Bartold, good morning to all you guys. When I walked, I started at my house, it was dark. I worked down here, and now I'm working back. Trying to find a spot where I sit. That's what I'm trying to avoid with her, is when I walk up to her, she gets so excited that she has to get up. That's why I like to stretch that lead out away from her. So you're gonna see me reach out with my foot, kind of just pull that back. It's much easier for me to lean in and pick that lead up now and not get her stirred up, because I got a little bit of distance between me and her. If it's all balled up right next to her feet, it's hard for me to do that. So whenever I walk away with the lead, I try to stretch it out a little bit. But anyway, I walked from there about 3/4 of a mile down to, I think it's about 1.25 miles, maybe a little bit more, and then I turn around and start coming back. So this is gonna give me enough time, and it also gets it, there, I misread that. I don't mind her laying down, I do mind her chewing. No. I do mind her chewing on that leash, I don't wanna allow it, no. Good. I don't wanna form a bad habit. I talk a lot about don't form bad habits. So don't have that leash there as a chew toy for her. Remember, she's teething, that's why we're not doing any retrieving. And the other thing that I wanna push is the idea of every time I start these videos, Daniel from down under, hey big fella is right, how did you get up at this time? Or I don't know what time it is over there, maybe it's afternoon over there. Daniel's our buddy from Australia. Becky, welcome Becky. Amber is in, I think Amber's husband is in. Eric Yeager's in. Good morning, guys. So I'm going to continue to push the idea that when I start out a lesson, I think we have to be efficient and get a lot out of it, but I also think that there's a patience element that has to be built into it, and that means that the dog has to come out, it's got to come out under control, and it's got to come out with the understanding of, yeah, we're going to go work on something, but we're also going to build patience into it. So this was just a walk for us this morning. Now I'm building in a little bit of a lesson where we're going to work on some skill. This isn't my big lesson of the day. I might start moving towards that. Ryan Krasanik, Steph is in. Mike, how's your boy doing, Mike? I've been kind of trying to follow along with that. Steph's on water break, so she's working out right now. See, you guys, we got our own little system here. So, so what I'm going to do is, because I'm in an area that doesn't say weak, I stopped, weak connection. I stopped, and I'm going to actually work on something specific today and build it into this little walk of ours that I think a lot of people are struggling with. I've heard a lot of issues on heel. I've got several people, This is that patience that you could see that was about her threshold. Now these guys, they could sit here for quite a while, and I think most Taylor and Ellie would lay down eventually, because they'll figure they're staying here for a while. And the quarry's working over there, so there's plenty of distractions with noises and all that stuff. That's life. That's what we need to work through. But this little puppy, you just saw her kind of hit her limit as far as her tension. And she's kind of fading off now. And I expect her to move her feet a little bit. So I'm pushing it right now, but I'm not going to let it go to failure. So I'm going to reach in here pretty quick and kind of save her. So there's her attention. She's back to me. I'm reaching down for this lead without her getting in the habit of breaking up off of her spot. So now I'm going to leave these two. Spry heel. I'm going to leave these two, which, Ellie, come here. Again, come here. Ellie, sit. Taylor, sit. Spry, come on. These two have to realize now, which is a good lesson for them, equally good lesson for them, is we just have to sit here and wait, because he's going to go do something with this dog. So this will be a lesson for them. Now, Mike Schulte just joined in. I'm glad Mike is in. Will says hi, says Mark. Tell him I said hi. Tough kid there. Charlie is in. Alex is in. Mike Schulte. Mike, I'm glad you're in, because Mike, you're one of my people that I'm talking about. I've gotten some messages from Mike, and I feel like we need to talk about some of this stuff, because it seems like where we left off with the group, where we were really consistent, we were talking about place work, we were talking about place training, steadiness at feeding times, all that kind of stuff, even some retrieving we got into. And yeah, 36 people at 6:15 is right. I know, a better crowd in the morning. I'm moving so that I hope my connection doesn't say weak, guys, so that's why I'm moving around right now. But the Mike has had, I think what happened is, and Mike, you're not alone. Good morning, Vicky. When we stopped with our consistent, frequent, sit. When we stopped with our consistent, frequent lives, we were talking retrieving, we were talking place training, we were talking about patience, we were talking about feeding times, and I think that a lot of people came along with that and did really well. Shaldag's in. Shaldag, welcome back. We haven't seen you live for a while, but we haven't been live for a while. That's the problem. But people were tagging along really well and finding a lot of success, I think, with their dogs. And sit. Since we started to cut back on the lives, people have had some issues, I think. One of them is heel. I've worked more on heel the last 6 to 8 weeks than anything else. And I think that seems to be what people are struggling with. At our workshop, people struggled with heel. Heel work was one of the biggest things that was a struggle coming in, but by the end, I think it was one of the better changes I saw in dogs in a real short period of time. Now, why do I pound heel work so much? I'll be the first person to tell you, when I used to have dogs and I was younger and before I really got into training, I thought heel was a waste of time. Now, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the value of it. I didn't understand why I wanted to have a dog heel so good. Because all I wanted was a hunting dog. And I don't take my hunting dogs for walks, and I didn't really see the value in putting a lot of time into heel. And every time I took a dog for a walk, it just kind of turned into a pulling. And I didn't like that, and it didn't look very good, and I just didn't, so I avoided it. It was something that I wasn't very good at, my dogs weren't very good at, so I avoided it, and I worked on the stuff they were pretty good at, retrieving, taking them in the field and letting them hunt. They got pretty good at that. The problem with that is I evolved as a dog owner, and I wanted to get a dog that I could take everywhere. I wanted to get a dog that I could do more stuff with, because I realized I only hunt a couple months out of the year. So in order to do that, I had to have a dog that I could take in public. I had to have a dog that I could go for walks with. I had to have a dog that I wanted to have a dog I could take anywhere I wanted. And I found out really quickly, without heel, you can't do it. So what I really want to focus on is, with these dogs, is heel. And I've got this dog healing better than I've ever had a pup at her age healing. I'm borderline coming off lead with her. So I don't want you to draw that comparison and go, I'm nowhere near that. So what? I've had some dogs I just started getting good on lead at her age. Now she's 21 weeks, gonna be 22 weeks. She's getting up there. She's gonna turn into an old lady. So if you are interested in the heel work, which I think you have to be, in order to have a dog under control at a distance, I have to have him under control next to me. And I can't do that without solid heel work. So I think what we've got to do is, Vicky, you got your adventures certifications. Congratulations. Emily, Wayne, welcome, guys. So heel work, to me, I'm going to tell you right now, is one of the most important things. And if you really want to do the stuff that we do with our dogs, there's no way around it. It's a lot like hold conditioning, except I really don't like hold conditioning. I think it's boring, and I think it's something that I dread doing, and I don't know why I dread it so much, but as soon as I get done with it, I feel like that wasn't so bad, and why don't I do it more often, and why do I make such a big deal out of it? Heel work is just ongoing, and I don't dread it. I love it. I really think it helps me with my connection with my dog. So if you want to continue on the road with us, I'm putting it out there right now, heel work is a must. Now, a lot of people are saying it doesn't work with me. My dog pulls, my dog doesn't pay attention. And so I think part of it is our lives didn't show as often what we did in order to set ourselves up for this right now. And one of them is tying out. You guys have to tie your dogs out. So if you're not tying your dogs out, there's a reason why heel work might not be going that well. When I say tying them out, I show it in my garage, and I've seen several people doing it in my shop, like I did at the shop. That's good. Now, that's not the only way to tie a dog out. I've tied those dogs out like that just because it was crappy weather. Now that the weather is nice, John Ballard, welcome John. Now that the weather is nice, I'm tying him out with a stake in a gravel parking lot by my house. It's not a parking lot, but it's a little building pad with gravel. She's less prone to digging it. I tied her out once in the yard, she dug a hole. So now I tie her out in the gravel because it's easier for me to fill in if she does dig, but it's less inviting to dig. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you that later. I'm going to show it on Instagram this morning when I get back. But I am tying dogs out. You have to tie your dog out. There's the patience factor. She's so polite with her little crossed legs. So you have to tie them out and have them understand patience, understand that they are going to not learn to give the pressure to the neck, because all we're doing when we're doing heel work is pressure to the neck when they get out of the zone to correct them. Another thing that I think, and I'm going to show it right now, is this. These two are going to sit and be patient. That's Taylor on the left, Ellie on the right. Miss Prim and Proper, crossing her legs. Ellie girl. Ellie. Yes. This one, nice extended sit. Anybody notice that? How long that was? That was beautiful. Now I'm going to take her out. This is hard for me to do, and I really wish I had my tripod. I'm going to do the best I can. You can see her fading. I'm not going to reward that. Sit down. Push, sit down. I went way too long. And I knew she was starting to fade, and I should have been down there and got the lead. I'll get it now. See it. Good. Remember, habit that I don't want is for her to jump up every time I reach out. I don't want her jumping up and getting so excited that she comes up off of her spot. So I reach out for that lead real slowly and get her up while she remains sitting. Very good. And a little bit of praise. And you can see, she doesn't need a lot of praise. Very good. Very good. Very good. See the tail? That's the indicator that she understands what she's doing. Now I don't need to overpraise her for something she already knows how to do. She knows how to sit pretty good, but I'm going to make sure she understands it. Do you teach heel on both sides? Alex, eventually you can, but one side or the other to start out with. I go left, my left-hand side. But get it perfect on one side before you start going for two, for both sides. So now what I'm going to do is this. I think the problem that a lot of people have is they're working on heel work and they're trying to take their dogs for walks. I think people are trying to take their dog for a walk while they're going to teach heel. And when you go for a walk, that's not where they learn heel. You're just going to end up going for a long, boring thing where your dog sets cruise control and you start tugging and tugging and tugging, and they don't learn anything from it. It's a lot like recall. You don't teach recall when you let your dog out to go to the bathroom. That's one that we've helped a lot of people get through, I think. Might still be getting through it, some of them. Mark, good morning. Mark Phelps joined in. Recall is not something you train to your dog while you let them out to the bathroom, because when they go out to the bathroom and they don't understand what recall is, they don't come back, and then we turn into angry dog owners yelling at our dogs to get them to come back from the bathroom. Who wants to come back when all you do is you're yelling? I think a lot of people, we talked about that quite a bit this weekend at Whitetails Unlimited, and when you're outside and you're teaching your dog to recall and it's not working, and you're screaming and hollering, "Get over here, Max," or whatever your dog's name is, why would any dog come to that? And then when they do come, you're usually so upset, you grab them by the scruff of the neck and shake them up a little bit. Well, you got to remember what the timing issue is. If you don't correct them the second they're doing something wrong, or praise them the second they're doing something right, they don't understand what it's for. So if you call a dog back hollering and screaming because you're pissed because they didn't come, when they do come, you rough them up. They're going to think they're getting punished for coming back to you. They're that much less likely to come next time. So you got to remember, timing is so important. So don't train your dog to recall in situations that you don't have control over. How do we fix that? Put them on a lead. Take them outside. Well, how do you take them on a lead if you can't heel work? See how all this stuff is linked together? You got to have all of it. That's why they're all pieces of the puzzle. If you don't have a piece, you're never going to put the puzzle together. So sit. She stretches out. That's fine. Sit. Now, again, this is going to be hard for me to film, so I'm going to spin this back. This is how you should be practicing your heel work. Now, some of you have dogs that are way beyond this. They just don't. They're really struggling. I'm going to show you what I mean about how I'm going to do it, why I'm going to do it. But then I'm going to show you might need you might need some tools. You might need the right tools. So Mike says we heel in the driveway back and forth. He's getting a little better. Try to reverse heel, and surprise me how well he did with that. Neighbors coming through. Christ. Reverse heel, Mike, is great. That's for recall. So reverse heel is not going to help you with your regular heel. That's just a drill we do for recall. Get our dogs to come to us. You're practicing in the right place in the driveway. That's good. But I think I read a message either from you or something that you had sent to Wyatt that had something to do with pulling. A lot of pulling. So I'm going to show you how much space you need to get some heel work in. This little square right here. My dad had a dog that wouldn't heel. He asked me to work with it. He took it for walks. Couldn't get it to heel. It pulled bad to the point where he stopped taking it for walks. So he asked me to work with it. So I said yes. So I took it in the backyard of his house and I walked around in circles and squares, and I never covered more than 10 yards in 20 minutes. And he watched, and by the end the dog was heeling pretty well with a loose lead. And he said, well, I thought you were going to work on heel with it. And I said, I did. And he said, yeah, I saw what was going on there, because all of a sudden she started heeling at the end. I said, yeah, it takes a while and she's not there yet. Ellie, sit. But he said, I thought you were going to take her for a walk. And I said, no, that's the problem. You can't take her for a walk until she knows how to heel. Okay? So heel work can take place in a really small spot. It's constantly changing directions. Every time my dog gets out of position, I have to correct it. So I have to change directions. I have to keep this dog understanding that it doesn't figure out where it's going and just go. Its attention has to be on me. So eyes are very important. So I'm going to get that lead in position in the right spot. See how loose it is. If I can get her to move her head. See how loose it is. If I want to tighten it, there it tightened. There it released. There it tightened. There it released. This is the tool I'm using. A slip chain is what some of you need to use, because your dogs just don't respond and they're too flat. And when they're real little, I use a flat collar. Major Person joined in. Welcome, Major. John Ballard says he's having John Ballard was at our workshop. Says he's having drastic improvement. That's something that John's, if he fixes heel work with Fletch, boy, he's going to have a completely different dog, because he's going to be allowed to do way more drills that are going to help him develop that dog out into the field. So Jeremy Ebner's in. Welcome, Jeremy. So I'm going to show you that. So this is out of position. That lead right now is out of position. If I correct it, it doesn't get me what I need. So I need to get it over. So this is the mechanical part of this that's really hard for me to show you while I'm filming, but I'm going to try it. So I got to get that over to the side. Now, you guys have seen sit. You guys have seen this before too. You have to put this thing on right. Okay? Form the letter P. Okay, the letter P over the dog's head. That's what it needs to look like. I don't know if you can see that or not. Really hard for me to film this myself. So form the letter P, slip it over the dog's head. Now, when I release, it gets loose. When I tighten, it tightens. When I release, it gets loose. Tightens, it tightens. Release, it releases. So you have to have these things on. If you put it on the backwards, I'll talk about this and show it later. With a slip chain, it's much clearer. Put it on backwards, it just turns into a choke collar. Never releases. The point of this is to turn pressure on and then turn pressure off. So I'm going to start in with her. You always start with their name and get some type of a read or reaction from them. So Spry heel. Her eyes were enough. See how loose the lead is right now? She's got a habit, she always stretches. So I love her position right now. But if she were to get out, I'm just turning and going the opposite way. Now, I'm not going to show much correction with her because she doesn't get out of position. It's because I've been doing this from the start. A lot of you that are having problems right now, your dogs are not in position. They're just out on the end of their lead. So what you need to do is you need to put a correction in. Now, that didn't hurt her and it didn't scare her, but you saw I literally got a correction out of it. Look at her submission right now. Her wiggling, her turning, she doesn't even want to look me in the face because of that little bit of correction that I just gave her. That's what I need. This dog really respects me. You have to get your dog, if you crank on your dog and the dog doesn't even blink, you need to put more pressure on to get a change. Now, I'm not big on a lot of pressure. That's why the lightest pressure is possible to get the change. That's why some of you need to go to a slip chain. You have to go to, even with a dog this size, I think it's too much. But it's too much because she doesn't need it. It's too much for her. It might not be too much for another dog. Now, the one thing is if you put a little slip chain on a puppy this size, she's 33 pounds, 31 pounds, something like that. It won't take much pressure. I won't have to, I pull on this a lot harder than I would with a slip chain because the slip chain magnifies the effect. So when this little pup, Spry, heel, gets out of position, I can give her a snap with that slip chain. It's really hard for me to show it because I don't have the dog that needs that right now. And the reason I don't is because I've just set her up. Come on. Now, I don't want her sitting. See how she had a habit of sitting there? I'm going so slow, she decided, well, I think I'll just sit. I don't want that. I want her feet to continue to move. That's heel work. So now I'm just turning to the right. And there's no steering involved. There's none of this. Here's the other thing. The problem I saw the most this weekend at the workshop was nobody trusts their dog. So look how awkward she is right now. I got a tight lead on her. This is very uncomfortable for her. She's not used to it. The problem is, you can see she just didn't like that. The problem I see is people that don't trust their dog on heel put constant pressure on their dog. And so my dog reacts to that little bit of pressure a lot. You could see it put her in a really uncomfortable position. But what happens is if you have constant pressure on them, they become numb to it. They think that's just normal. So when you have constant pressure on them, they become numb. It means nothing to them. So now all of a sudden, to get their attention, you have to correct them that much more. First thing you got to do is turn the pressure off. If you got constant pressure, you got constant correction, which becomes zero correction after a while because it just becomes normal. So you got to turn the pressure off. And in order to do that, you have to trust the dog. So you got to let the lead loose. And then when the dog gets out of position, it's a quick snap and correction. So I really got to get that slip lead. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll bring the slip chain to show you because I can use it on her. I just will use it at a fraction of what you'll probably use it on your dog at. These two at the same time, just hanging out, patience. But we're not going to move much more than 10 feet with the dog when I'm starting to teach him. If you've watched our training DVDs, if any of you are struggling with the heel work and you haven't watched the training DVD, the puppy one, watch it. And I don't care if your dog is 2 years old or 2 months old. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The foundation stuff is there. So the puppy DVD has, I spend I don't know what percentage, a great percentage of that DVD is talking about heel work. We show it with some pups. But what if there's a ton of distractions? Should you start heel work in an area with less or no? Absolutely, Mark. Absolutely. No different than place training. I don't recommend place training starting out in a place with a lot of distractions. Sit. I don't recommend teaching a dog sit in a place with a lot of distractions. Feeding times. Steadying at feeding times. Don't do it in a place with a lot of distractions. Every single thing you do for the first time needs to be in a spot where you can get focus because you're up against their focus to start with. So go to a place that makes it easy and then add distractions. This is not that bad of a spot, but you can tell there's distractions. There's a quarry going on over there. I've added distractions by bringing 2 dogs with. I do that on purpose. I was working on heel work all the way down here for the first quarter, well, whatever it was, 3/4 of a mile, 1/4 of a mile, and then back to this spot. So I've got a mile in right now. The first mile, I heeled the dog and I let these 2 just free range. I let them hunt. I let them work cover. So this dog had to go, oh my God, these guys are just running around wherever they want. And I got to pay attention to you and heel to you. And she did. And that's what I'll do to finish out here. Because she's on heel. I'm getting awesome heel work in with her. I'm practicing. I'm applying what I've worked on so much in the drills. I'm applying it during this walk. Spry, heel. So I'll show you that. These girls did a nice job. All right, let's go. Ellie, let's go. Taylor, let's go. So I'll let these guys can go. Go ahead, Taylor. Ellie, go ahead. Go ahead. Let me get my lead here. So yeah, here's a look at who's spun up now. Ellie, Taylor. These guys get to do whatever they want. Heel. Good. Go on, let's go. Good. Good. Go on, let's go, Taylor. Let's go. Let's go. These guys are out in front. They're doing what they want to do. Someone really would like to go with them. So I turn and I walk away. See? Distraction, correction. That was a chance for me to get a correction in for you. Correction. Correction. Good. Correction. Correction. She's going, enough of this. Well, I'm telling her, enough of the distraction. Good. All right, let's go, Ellie. Let's go. Ellie, let's go. Let's go. Taylor, let's go. Go on. Let's go. I gotta adjust my lead here. So now we're getting back started. Go on, Taylor. Let's go. Go on. So now we're getting back to what we did for the first mile of this walk. Go on, Taylor. Let's go. Good. Ellie. Now I'm missing Ellie. Ellie. Here. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Good. Heel. So that's that. I think a lot of you guys are signing off and heading to work. I'm gonna finish my walkout. Ellie, let's go. Let's go. Taylor, let's go. Again, thanks for sticking through me. It's tough. I gotta get the tripod going. Go on, let's go. Let's go. But we're gonna finish out with a nice controlled heel. I'll show you guys that slip collar tomorrow. I'll have my whistle tomorrow. Got a couple more things I want to add into these walks and get benefits out of. So you guys have a great day. We will talk with you soon.